Hello, everyone. Mike Arnold here, co-founder, Path Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino. Two things: Tesla deliveries are out, so I'm going to talk about that. And there's a question on how to project neutral trading weeks. So I'll address that too. Somebody asked that question. So first off, deliveries, total production, they said 237, 823, deliveries 241, 300. I don't need to break down the individual, and that I think estimates around 223, so that clearly beat estimates. So I'm going to caveat this. That's a beat. If we gap up, then no problem because it's a beat. Would not be shocked to see us gap up. If we open flat to down, that is bearish. They've beat. Now, if this does not get a pop, same analysis holds from yesterday, but I'm still watching the bottom of the daily rotation zone, especially on a closing basis. If we get a close below there, especially with this beat, then I'm really going to watch for the other side of this upward sloping channel. If we get the gap up, it still favors higher prices. Just statistically, it favors higher prices. I understand the bearish case. There's a lot of reasons why I think a pullback is warranted, and I'm going to be prepared for it. However, I got to trade with where the probabilities are. Now, the numbers are a beat. Why this would be if I get the close below that daily rotation zone, because you have good news. If it beats and then the selling takes place, then we'll most likely see a bigger pullback. I can't guarantee because it could still catch on the bottom of the rotation zone. But on close below that, everything's priced for optimism. We've had good numbers come out, and now if it does not rally, then the selling pressure will be there. We've seen with this pullback in the rotation zone a fair amount of selling pressure. Options, the options went flat on Friday, and that's still one thing I'm going to be watching on Monday. Last few weeks, we've had some major option volume in the weeklies on Monday, so I'm going to be tuned into that also. But if we can't rally, especially if we also get options volume, if we can't rally, then I'm going into more bearish mode and agreeing and going to start watching for that pullback. Now, how to project neutral trading weeks. That's a little trickier in a stock like Tesla, because you never know when those options are going to pop up, and the option volume that we have the large blocks go off in the weekly and juice it. That's the only caveat I'm going to say. It's a more difficult. Generally, for neutral stuff, I wait till we get overbought on a daily and at least start running out of momentum. So I start watching for divergences, because remember, there's two kinds of pullbacks. Sideways pullback and a rotation zone pullback. You don't always know which one it's going to be, but those I will still lump into the more neutral style to slightly anti-trend style. So if I'm doing stuff that has a neutral bias, like doing condor spreads, butterfly spreads, iron condors, iron butterflies, I'm going to take into account, where things are sitting with, and use the concept of the price projections and rotation zones. For example, let's say, and this is hypothetical right now, but let's say I was doing a sort of a neutral play on Tesla. Well, one of the ends of it would be, I would take into account downwards of the bottom of the daily rotation zone being down around 755. So my lower strikes, whatever strategy I was using, and especially like a condor or an iron condor, we'd be watching somewhere around 750, 755, the lower strike ends, and the upper strikes would be around the 790, which gives you wider. Now, if I'm doing a butterfly, I'm going to look in between that, sort of average those two out, taking into account the upper end resistance and the lower end of the rotation zone. And then I'm going to split the difference and use that as a butterfly strike. So, let's just say 750, 790. Be going for about the 70 strike, because that's 20 less than the 90s, 20 above the 50s. So that would be something I'd be doing. Now that would only be to after we got to overbought and started losing some momentum. Once we start pulling back to a rotation zone, that's where I am not going with a neutral strategy anymore, because now, especially like this, let's just use Tesla. So we had the big update, then really we've gone nowhere in 4 or 5 days. Okay? Because you look from last Friday the 24th, versus today, on a closing basis, we've roughly gone nowhere. And what happened last Friday, we started getting, especially on Monday, into that overbought, and we are losing momentum. So higher high, lower. Now, this is easy to say, after what's happened, but if you look, you get the big momentum moves, and even this week, middle of September, you had it burn off. So key is to watch the lower end and sort of average that out with the upper end of the resistance, and then you can use the middle of that for, again, your butterfly, or develop a condor or iron condor around those, using the upper strikes around resistance and the lower strikes around key support. And especially if you get a cluster, like on Friday, we have the bottom of the rotation zone and a projection cluster right around the 755. So that's a very key level for me to utilize, whether it's just trading or whether I'm looking at neutral strategies, or whether I'm actually looking for a potentially bullish strategy on a pullback. So those are the kind of things that would be my recommendation. Now, again, why it's challenging more so with Tesla than some other stocks is because you get these gamma momentum moves. And there's other certain stocks I wouldn't necessarily use a lot of neutral, like some of the old meme stocks when they were hot. That's playing with fire, because when things get overbought or oversold and you expect it to burn off some of that overbought or oversold condition, well, in the meme stocks or Tesla or any of these gamma option stocks on the weekly basis, you can set up the perfect strategy. Then if those options go off and it gets momentum, it's going to blow out that neutral strategy. So keep that in mind. Let me know if that answers your question. And again, weekly deliveries, that's where we stand. It was a beat. So if we beat and we then sell off, that is more bearish in a nutshell that I'm watching for the bigger pullback. Talk to everyone later. Bye for now.